Hello and welcome to the Mill Creek View CEO Special with me, your host, Steve Abramowicz, where I interview the best business people and entrepreneurs. Hello and welcome back to the Mill Creek View CEO Special with your host, Steve Abramowicz. We are focused on the best businesses doing good business in America. Today, we are in studio with David McPherson. But first, for more information about the CEO Special or the Mill Creek View stable of podcasts, visit us anywhere you get your podcast or videos at Mill Creek View. While you're there, please subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of this amazing content and pass it on. And thanks for doing it. Movienight was founded to positively impact society through media. The founding team of Movienight has created new advancements in the media industry that will bring content creators together with consumers like never before. David McPherson, CEO, chairman, founder. David's leadership acumen stems from his vast entrepreneurial experiences and achievements. His career has spanned industries ranging from medical technology, weapon material sciences, e-commerce, franchises, and more. David's insight and eagerness to create new innovations positioned him as a patented medtech inventor, e-commerce inventor, and early innovator in over a dozen industries. Together with partner Lucas Foster, CEO, Chief Business Officer, Lucas is one of the most accomplished movie producers in Hollywood, having produced many highly acclaimed films such as Ford vs. Ferrari, $225 million at the box office, Bad Boys, $141 million, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, $487 million, Man on Fire, $130 million, Crimson Tide, Dangerous Minds, and many others. Lucas's involvement as Chief Business Officer empowers Movienight with seasoned entertainment industry leadership. David, thanks for coming on today. How are you today?
Everything is great, my brother. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
This is great.
I'm glad you could take the time. You are a busy guy doing a lot of good work. Tell us what brought you to the movie distribution industry and what you've been doing before that.
Yeah, so I was brought into it. So years ago, I got to consult with several of the flicks out there, Pure Flicks and some others, and I looked at the holes in the industry and thought they needed to be plugged. And obviously, the Christian entertainment genre is considered the most underserved. So with that being said, there's few in the industry that would budge and serve it properly. So after several meetings, we decided to just go for this on our own. And when you looked at the industry overall, there wasn't a whole lot of economical holes that need to be filled. We had to really look for those and find them. And ultimately we found them and are plugging them with technology and processes that are new to the industry.
And your business model is very unique. Obviously, the movie business has been around and very mature and very labor and money intensive. How have you figured out a way to do it cheaper, better, faster?
Well, as far as making movies, there's nothing that we've done there to do it any better than anyone else is doing. We've partnered with people that know how to do it very, very good. As far as monetization or distribution, we've created 3 new layers of revenue. Actually 4 new layers of revenue that allow movie makers to earn extra money off of what they've already created. So they look at us as something, when they see our model, they're like, wait a minute, we've got to add that to the mix. And because we offer things that nobody else is doing, it's not hard to get really great titles to provide, through our network.
somebody like a Lucas Foster is not an easy thing. He must have looked at what you were doing and said, I want a piece of that or a part of that. How did that relationship evolve?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, a friend of mine down in Texas had a friend that's Lucas's partner, and he made the connection. And I get on the phone with Lucas's partner, and I described this is what we're doing with churches and with businesses. Lucas at the time was getting ready to produce something called Constantine the Great around the Roman Emperor Constantine, and there's a major faith element to that. So he thought, man, if I could make this in a way that Movienight could get it to their audience, then it would be an extra layer of revenue that he was not even predicting in his model before. So we got on the phone. That conversation led into me flying out to see him and spent a couple of days with him, got in a studio with him, did some interviewing. And since then we've had a lot of conversations, but ultimately that's how it happened. And he thinks our model is profound and is helping out, to say the least. Yeah.
Well, without giving away the secret sauce too much, I know obviously there are a lot of distribution channels out there now. Before the internet, there were just the studios, and then maybe there was direct to DVD, so that would sell through a Blockbuster, which are gone now, or Hollywood Video. Yeah. With the rise of the Amazons and the Netflixes and the Epics and all the rest of these things, how do you find your niche, and how do you get the distribution content that they can't get?
Yeah, so our first goal, there's an expression used out there in corporate America. Corporate America uses it. It's called flyover America, and that is basically the blue collar, working class, God fearing or church going family that typically doesn't really relate with a lot of the messaging or cultural beliefs of the Netflix and the Disney. So our goal was to go after that family, go after that consumer, and they are 62% of all online consumerism. It's a huge underserviced body of consumers. So, so we made a plan, and we thought, how could we appease that audience well, serve them well, and be the representative of them in the movie industry. So nobody's really representing their interests in Hollywood. And we wanted to pull that body of consumers together so that Movienight is the voice that can deliver, that can speak for them and deliver to them what they're looking for as far as content. So one of the first things we did, and I'm a man of God, I'm a believer in Jesus, and I look at it as Jesus says I manifest to destroy the work of the devil. So I look at it as Jesus manifesting through me as a leader of this organization to destroy the work of the devil in the media industry. So that's my hard step forward when I go to proceed to do any kind of negotiating in the business whatsoever. I also, I have a big belief. I think that pastors and churches need to be supported more. I think the communities overall need to have a better outlook on the local body. And I think that the local body needs to be doing things to integrate more with society so they have a higher impact and more relevancy in society. So we created a subsidiary called Movienight Ministries where we're able to get great movies with A-list talent, A-list producers. These are not a Hallmark style movie. They're not a low budget type of movie. We get them. We do an editing of the movie that gives us something called a church edition. We offer it to churches with the marketing package that we call the Pack the House Guarantee. So we know that there's 50 to maybe 100 million fans of our movies out there that will go to a church event to watch the movie. So we're able to serve Flyover America through Movienight Ministries. We serve from the viewpoint of the pastor. We're giving him a full event of people from the community, that's what they like. That's what they're looking for. From the viewpoint of the consumer that's just visiting the event, they're showing up to watch a great movie. If they have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 family members, they're saving $50 to $150 by not having to go to a theater and pay for it. And these churches are providing soda and popcorn, hot dogs, etc. So these families are showing up and they leave very, very satisfied with their experience through our Movienight brand. The churches are very, very satisfied by the crowd that they just attracted. Our our process is pretty simple. So our church facing brand, our pastor facing brand is Movie Night Ministry. So from their perspective, when this event's over, they get a data list. In their eyes, it looks like new visitor forms. Typically, they spend up to $35. The average in the nation right now is about $35 in digital marketing to attract a family to a church. We're delivering that for $1 or $2. So when the pastor's done with the event, he can look at a list of people and see all these new visitor forms that we provide to him. From the consumer's perspective or the visitor's perspective, they go to movienight.com, they register, and they get a free movie pass. So in the eyes of one, it's a pass. In the eyes of the other, it's a new visitor form. So everyone in the, as far as the church movie events, everyone's happy, and we're happy. The people the producers of our movies, they're happy because again, it's a new layer of monetization for them, and it exposes their brand to the audience. And then on top of that, what we do for the producers is we provide the data list. So all the visitors that go to the church to see it, now the movie producer has access through us to that customer when they release another film. So that Movie Night Ministries model is appeasing to everyone involved, us, the producer, the pastor, the visitor. Nobody loses, everybody wins.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing. Win, 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 win.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If I'm a executive at a studio and I'm in charge of a library of movies, because obviously the main issue with the, let's just say, faith-based film industry is that sometimes it's perceived as having the lower quality, lower budgets, lower B-grade or C-grade actors to do it, so they're not promoting their movies. Obviously, the ones I listed with Lucas, say the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie box office $500 million, they drew the crowd into the audience. You're doing it with a genre of film that's a little harder to, let's just say, sell, because people think they're going to preconceived notion that they're going to see a not so great film. So
Yes.
if you do approach a studio executive who has a library of old Star Trek shows or old James Bond films, how do you pitch to them that they want to provide content through you to distribute?
Yeah, so that's that's a pretty easy answer. So when I sit down with studio executives, I pretty much let them know that if you want a really good if you want access to Flyover America, we are the gateway to it. That one line alone opens up the conversation. So that's my open liner. If you're a CEO of some studio, that's what I would tell you. Now, I don't go to you and say, hey, I'm going to pay you for a bunch of content. I go to you and say, I want your content. These are the titles that we're looking for. I want you to give them to me on consignment. And most studios will say, the ship's already sailed. It's left the dock. You're too late. We're exclusive in all these, verticals. And then I mention our verticals, and they come back 100% of the time and say, we actually don't have exclusives in those. And the reason why is because not only the church-facing model, but our new model that we have, which is considered RVOD, which is Redemption Video on Demand, it offers consumers an opportunity to earn tokens while they shop, and they can use those tokens to redeem. They can redeem a token to watch a movie, buy a movie, or subscribe to an online channel like a PureFlix or Netflix or something.
So this is the next level of product placement you're talking about on steroids, where you're saying that somebody in a retail, non-affiliated with the movie's storyline could actually make money selling their product through your distribution. How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a new feature that we're building in our app. So basically, while you're watching a movie on your television through Movie Night, so if you get the Movie Night app, which is not available until sometime in July, probably second or third week of July.
This may be running in then.
Yes. Okay, so so basically, while you're watching on your TV, you can open your app and you can see you can tap on a button which is shop mode, and you can see whatever you're seeing on that TV. You'll be able to shop off your phone. So if you see Tom Cruise wearing a pair of sunglasses or something, just for an example, and I'm not saying we're gonna have Tom Cruise movies on here, I'm just saying for an example, you'll find retailers that have that right from the phone, and you can tap it and buy while you're watching the movie. So
that's fantastic.
That is another layer of revenue. Yeah. And we hope that in the future we have a lot more integration with Movie Night and the production side, just so that we can bring sponsors that have items they want in movies that pay an upfront fee to be in the movie, and then that product is connected through Movie Night when it streams.
So you'd have original content and content that's already been created to be distributed. So you basically have a large channel where people can decide what they want to see based on the genre or the actor and whatnot. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, Hollywood's going through a writer's strike right now, as you know, and most of that has to do with streaming rights, more television than movies themselves, because obviously they have said that there's not an ability to track who's watching these movies. If you hit play on Amazon Prime or Netflix, they say they don't know how. They now say all of a sudden maybe they have figured that out, or at least the Directors Guild has.
Yeah.
Are you finding any complications with that? And I'd love to hear a success story in a church. Somebody who maybe was skeptical about what you could do and how it actually went above and beyond their expectations.
Yeah, I'll answer the first question first about the strike. So we've already, our model was that we've already planned to build out and started to build out a process to where after you watch a movie, you can, the people that were involved in making the movie, the producers, the actors, etc., they now have those people, so they can log into the back end of Movie Night and see all the people that have watched their movie. Whether you're a grip on a set, whoever's in those credits, we want those profiles to be created on Movie Night and allow them to start building a following. So you have the IMDb site. That's our way of circumventing that and having our own database of people that are involved in the movie business on the back end of Movie Night. So we want movie talent, movie producers, writers, etc., to be just as active in our app as consumers. So we want to create that tie-in to where they have their own following. So after you've watched something, you might get notifications saying, "Hey, Steve, John Smith, who is a cameraman on Star Wars or something, you just watched the movie. Would you like to follow his other work?" So then you can start tracking. We could track all that progress on there.
Wow. Yeah. So much more granular than just the top billing actor or the director or the writer, even, which usually doesn't get a lot of credit. You're saying you can follow their own social media through you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That'll help their careers immensely. That's another win-win-win
for
them. So what is a success story that you had in the church?
Yeah, we have a couple. So there's a church down in, and I don't remember their name off the top of my head. There's a church down in Louisiana that contacted us and said, "Hey, we are in the middle of nowhere, small town. We've got 15 to 30 average attendance on Sunday. What can you do?" And we told them, and they're like, "There's no way." So we said, "Well, let's just try it." And I talked to him. I said, if it doesn't work, I'll just refund you your money, but at least try it. So they did an event, and this is a tiny little rural community. They had 130 people at the event. They probably spent $300 to $500 total on the event, and I was actually surprised too, because I really didn't expect that many, because it was kind of a long shot to get them at least 100. And ultimately, they went down the road and they ended up buying a concession stand. They're now subscribing to a monthly event with us, and it's now their form of outreach. We've got an event coming up July 1st down in Houston at Pastor E.A. Deckard's church, and that church is called Greenhouse International. And we got 500 people to sign up for that event in hours. Wow. So that'll be a big one. It's going to be a whole parking lot. Wow. I think they've got 2 blow-up screens and a big PA system. I think they've got probably 1,000 hot dogs they'll serve, and that'll be a big one.
That's great.
That'll be really good. So we haven't seen any that have not been successful. And so far, 100% of pastors that have done one event calls us saying, "Hey, we want to do this, make this a monthly outreach,
And you offer them a risk-free guarantee on the first go-round?
Occasionally, but most don't ask for it. Most understand it. Most church leaders understand that when they do a movie night, it's usually a more successful event. So typically, churches have the potluck stuff, or they'll have like a field day with bounce houses, or they'll have a movie event and they'll play a movie, Cars or Incredibles or something. that they don't even have like a permission to even a license to stream it commercially like they do.
Right. They just go to the Walmart and buy it.
Yeah, they buy the DVD and just wing it. We get them around that by buying one of our licenses. But most churches have done movie events. They see us and they're like, hey, we've done this before, and they understand that we have a specific title for them for the purpose of movie events, and they know that we have following around our talent. So we take some guesswork out. We give them a whole guide on how to manage the event, how to do follow-up. We give them Bible studies and devotionals and all that stuff around our titles. So it's not just a movie. You know, we always tell them we're not just movies, we're events and processes, and there's really no one out there doing what we're doing. There's a couple of services out there that you can go and license a movie, but they don't offer they don't offer what we offer. So we've got a we were with Dr. Wang the other day, and he said, "Oh, this is Blue Ocean." I said, "You're right."
Now you have to explain to everyone what Blue Ocean is.
All right, Blue Ocean. Blue Ocean and Red Ocean are entrepreneurial expressions or business expressions. Where a red ocean is where you have an ocean full of sharks, and they're the water's red because they're all devouring in the same body of water. And then you have blue ocean where it's just one shark swimming out there grabbing everything. So
that leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
There are only a few players in this space, and we are in 2023, which is the year of the phenomenon of, let's say, Jesus Revolution, where actual movies that are Christian-oriented or faith-based are actually catching fire, getting attention, getting people to the theaters, getting them to churches. And they were sponsored by churches, so they had a different pool of investor money, say, than China or than Hollywood or New York. How do you have the ins to jump into this space brand new and take the small but mighty other, well, I don't think you can call them studios, other players, and move them out of the way for you?
Yeah, so anyone that I would look at as potentially being a competing threat, they pretty much move themselves out of the way. So Hollywood had relationships with these guys that had access to churches, and they would be paid to go to churches and say, hey, promote this movie, drive your audience to theaters to buy tickets. And they offered a no-win situation for the church. So they go to a pastor, they make the proposition, and the pastor either says yes or no. That worked. That started it with Passion of the Christ. So that was kind of the first movie where pastors really got engaged in something, and then God's Not Dead comes around, and some others. A lot of Christian films out there. You can, Fireproof was a big one. But ultimately, pastors kind of have gotten worn out. They've gotten fatigued by that model because there's nothing to gain for them, and they're just promoting for these studios that haven't really given them anything.
They're using their expensive sound systems and screens to show a movie, but they're not getting anything back.
They don't even show the movie. They're promoting people to go buy theater tickets.
Oh, to send them to AMC or Regal to enjoy that. So there's no church tie-in, real church tie-in. They're marketing for free. Yeah,
church literally gets nothing but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's funny when we have conversations with churches, and I'm on the phone with the pastors as much as I can, I would say more than one conversation a day, sometimes 5, 10, 20 a day. And I get on calls with our sales reps, and we get on with a pastor, and they're like, hey, look, I don't want to promote your movie. I just want to find out, how can my church benefit off of this movie? Because you guys are saying you benefit us. How is that? They're very skeptical. They're worn out. And when we say, well, we have a movie that you can't find anywhere else. It's not in theaters. It's not on DVD. It's only through us. It's a church edition. It's got a big following behind it. And then they say, why? You know what I mean? Because they're trying to figure out.
Too good to be true.
It's too good to be true. Why is this available to me? And then they're told about David McPherson's mission as CEO, and a little bit about my background. They're like, that sounds like something we want to get involved in. So it's more than to us, it's more than a movie. Whereas the other brands out there, that have been doing this for over a decade, both of them, actually, a couple of them. They don't have a mission like we have. My mission is to make the pastor the most influential human being in the neighborhood. My competitors' missions are to make the pastor a source of profit.
Right.
So the intentions are different, and the way that we interact is different.
Yeah. What I think is fascinating, of course, is that we have The Chosen, right? Which is at the beginning, the first couple seasons was a huge success, word of mouth. It was not, there are no royalties going to a pastor to say, hey, you should all watch that on HBO or whatever channel it was on. I don't even know. And that's great. It worked. It got very popular. But you're saying here's a way to get them in with some economic glue to say, not only am I going to help you spread the word of a faith-based project or art like the movie, you can also participate in the success of it in your own church by becoming more influential, getting more people in, both believers and non-believers, which is a great goal to have, and then having the database of all the people who would be interested in such a thing for the next one and the next one and the next one. So that's fantastic. So let me ask you this. I have to formulate this one as a little different. What I know it's a very secretive kind of industry that you're in. You can't say too much about certain things, but what products or what content do you have on the website that people could see now, and what's coming in the future? That's where the secret comes in, that you could give us a little bit of sizzle. And again, this probably is going to be seen in July. So if you have anything that will already be in the can by then, be sure to let us know.
Sure. So great question. I'm going to correct you a little bit. You mentioned faith-based. Some of our movies have a faith center around them, or faith undertones. Our goal is to get non-believers to churches. I'm not highly enthusiastic about entertaining the body. I do not think the body needs to be entertained. I think we need to be active. So to make them active and more influential, we bring a Rob Schneider family-friendly comedy to attract the guy that just wants to watch a Rob Schneider movie. He doesn't know he's fully aware that he's attending a church event. It's on the ad. He knows what he's getting into. He's going to go to a church event to watch a Rob Schneider comedy. Since this is coming out in July, I can talk a little bit about our technology. So we do have some technology coming out that allows pastors to interact with visitors in a more profound way, more proficient, more effective way than ever before. So when we target an audience to go to a church event, we know the demographic. For example, right now we have a Rob Schneider daddy-daughter trip that's available to churches. We also have Padre Pio, which is a Shia LaBeouf movie. We also have Triumph, which is a Terrence Howard movie. So all three of those attract a different demographic. So when you look at what we could do with data and demographics, with the how to pair relationships for follow-up activity between the visitor and the congregant member or the church member, we allow the pastor to lead that, but we allow him to pastor the congregants to have those follow-up interactions based on like-mindedness of the visitor and the congregant. So it's a technology that uses AI to say, hey, David attended your event. He likes Harley Davidsons and Rambos and coffee on Wednesday mornings. Pastor John, you should have Steve to reach out to him because Steve rides a Harley, likes Rambo, and drinks coffee on Wednesday mornings. So by doing that, the pastor will initiate the conversation and say, hey, Steve, can you reach out to David? He came to the event. Here's his contact information. So you call him, you're like, hey, David, what's up, man? I saw you liked the event. You're probably going to speak a similar lingo as me, and you're probably going to have a lot higher probability of getting me to go sit down at a coffee or grab a Coke or a slice of pizza or something, or go on a Harley ride or something.
Or buy a Harley,
and open that conversation on, hey, how can I help you? Can I pray for you? Can I help you on your roof?
I think it's the holy grail of what studios have been desperate to have forever, because they always hear like, well, they're not making movies towards their audience. They're not targeting their audience because they get some, NBAs or masters of business back there and accountants doing the math. They're not saying, what does the flyover country, like you said, want to see.
Yes.
You would have that, and especially when it's church related. So I understand you're saying they're not faith-based films. You're not going to see a lot more chosen 2, chosen 3, chosen 4, chosen 5. You're going to see original content on your site that is either edited for a more, I don't know, what do you want to call it, a sensitive audience, or directed to them and more about what they like in the first place. So it's and I think they've been doing that with music for a long time as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are near the end here. What else can you tell us besides where to go to find you and follow you and make sure that they keep tabs on you because you're fast growing and very busy? What else can you tell us about Movienight to finalize this?
We've talked about the church side of things. I would like to touch on our RVOD model. So what we're doing for churches with movies, we're also doing with businesses. So going back to empowerment and influence, I love small business owners. I've been a small business owner since I grew up in a small business family.
And full disclosure, I am an investor in Movienight.
There you go.
I don't want anyone to come back later and say, what are you doing? Okay, now we know.
One of my favorite investors too. So
thank you.
Yeah. So with Movienight Ministries, obviously that's the church facing brand. Movienight.com itself, the RVOD, Redemption Video on Demand. Again, that's empowering business owners. So I want people to walk into the local hot dog stand, do what they normally do, which is buy a hot dog, and they walk out with a free movie pass to watch a movie on Movienight. And again, it's about the business owner wins because we just brought him a customer for a couple of bucks. The consumer wins because they didn't have to do anything extra, but they get a free movie out of the deal. When you look at the overall goal to connect with Flyover America, it's not just connecting with the consumer, it's connecting with the influencer. Who is the person of influence in the community? You got the pastor, the guy that owns the pizza shop, the guy that owns the whatever. Those are people that are looked up to in the community. So by empowering Flyover America with its micro-influencers, that's how we become a power brand in the market, and that's why we're able to get the content that we're getting. We do have some of our own productions we'll be launching. Our first in-house production, it's a story called Nocturnal Paralysis. That the term and the phrases around it gets 140 million searches annually.
Wow.
And it's a story about the events that occur when people have demonic paralysis. I had it for 25 years myself. I received the Lord. It was gone. I thought it was just me. I bought nocturnalparalysis.com. 3 years later, started a blog and got hit every single day. People finding it, asking me questions, saying, hey, I'm affected by it. We shared one. We have a logo contest going right now. We have about 500 logos submitted. So we've been sharing those. But our first logo that we shared, we had over 100 digital interactions of people sending us messages or commenting saying, hey, I deal with that too. What's the solution? So we're getting ready to do something very innovative with that title. It's a super hot topic. We're hoping to release it. It would be released fall of 24, but we're just going down that. So that would be the first Movienight original. We think that's going to attract, tens of millions of people to churches. Churches can actually talk about the subject. There's a reference in the New Testament. The term is called moonstruck. That is where the term nocturnal paralysis kind of stems from. But if you look at nocturnal paralysis art over the last 1,400 years, there's 1,400 years of the exact same depictions referencing the subject matter. So we're excited about that. Movienight.com is our site, movienightministries.com. My email address is david@movienight.com. You feel free to send me, if anyone out there wants to send me emails.
Especially with content to distribute.
Yeah, we are looking for good content. I do encourage, if you are a Christian film producer out there or a writer, my team and I love you and we want to support you. But we ask that you, if you do want to submit something, we get inundated with stories, faith stories, and we all have our faith stories. We're looking at things that are profound that can attract tens of millions to churches, tens of millions to businesses. And we do have a really good selection coming up. We've got we're in talks. I don't think I could talk about it just yet. But we're in talks with probably one of the most well-known actors out there. It looks like we'll be doing a movie with him that would probably be released probably end of 24, maybe early 25. We're really excited about that, and that's gonna be a shocker when people hear that a church is offering a movie by this guy. But he's had a huge life pivot, and is willing to do a passion project for us.
Yeah, you are most certainly a CEO and a company to watch going forward. You have everything going for you. The wind is in your sails, and I know you have the energy to pull it off. You're on an airplane almost every other day, so good luck with that, and thank you so much for coming on here. And it sounds like less than a year from now, we'll have you back on and tell us all about the wins and successes you're doing.
Yeah, I would love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.